snow was supposed to start last night, but it looks like it just started this morning, but it's really happening. Oh, it doesn't snow enough here. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go make some coffee. Huh?
You do it underneath.
Underneath the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pi doesn't have his own fur coat, so he has to wear one when he goes outside.
This way.
Oh my gosh, there's a duck out here.
I think that duck is saying what weird dogs we have.
What do you think, Pi? Pi likes grass. I already had the day off from work today, but it was supposed to start snowing last night and it didn't until this morning. But we're just gonna enjoy the snow. We don't have too much we need to actually get done today, but I'm gonna try not to play Fire Emblem all day. I was gonna get some more writing stuff done, but I pretty much spent this weekend playing Fire Emblem because my work schedule changed again, which is kind of stupid because it's all because of someone who doesn't even work there. But that's a different story. It meant I wound up with a 4-day weekend, but I've mostly been playing Fire Emblem. I think I'm gonna eventually do a video about like what to do when you're playing Fire Emblem 3 Houses, like where to start. So I'm doing my 3rd route. So I did the Golden Deer route and I did Edelgard's route. Hers. I haven't done the church route yet, but I'm doing the Blue Lions. And it's pretty clear you need to not do Edelgard's route before you do the Blue Lions. You get all her backstory, but none of the big picture backstory, and then Golden Deer you get all the big picture backstory. So I'll go more into it when I do a video someday once I've at least finished this route, but that's what I've been doing. But yeah, we're just gonna enjoy the snow, maybe have a fire later, and maybe I'll get some writing stuff done. So check in again soon. So I know Megan Tennant from Cloud Kitten Chronicles has recently moved up to the Seattle area, and she wrote a tweet last night basically complaining about how like we're expecting 2 inches and it is snowpocalypse here. Like people buy up everything from the shelves like they did last February, which is just crazy. Like, do people not keep their pantries stocked? Like we just have enough food. Like if we were snowed completely in for a week, we'd have plenty of food. Well, I guess like both of us cook, so maybe that's the difference, but like it's so funny how people are just like panic. And to be fair, they do not plow the roads. It's a little bit dangerous. I drove to work last year and I kind of regret it because they just plowed an ice skating rink onto the roads, basically like an inch of ice they just packed on there, so it was very dangerous. There was like no cinders or anything put down, so I get why people are like stay home, but I came from Colorado, so I feel you, Megan Tennant, that they just like, people do not know how to drive in the snow up here, but also they like panic. Other places it'll snow several feet and you just go wherever, like you don't, nothing closes down, but here like it all does. I thought it was funny. She's not spent a winter up here yet, I see. Okay, so I've been saying if it snows, then we're gonna have chili. So it snowed, so I'm making some chili. This is about what goes into it, plus an onion. You can put like whatever beans you want. I just get all of them so that it turns out really pretty. Look at that. Oh, and then green chilies, onion, some garlic, tomatoes, all the beans you want. And then chili powder. I use cumin, paprika, a little coriander, a bay leaf, and I put a little cayenne in because Josh really likes it spicy. And then it sounds like we're making some garlic knots and some cornbread, which seems like too many bread products, but it's a snow day, so who cares? So chili is one of the best and easiest things you can make in a slow cooker. And I have never made it in the Instapot before, but we're gonna see how it goes. And for lunch, because I saw Carla do it on Bon Appetit, we are making some eggs in purgatory and some garlic knots. Oh yes. Ooh. These are both really easy to make. Garlic knots is just the most simple bread recipe, and then you turn it into a knot and you put some garlic on it. Like, so easy. Garlic butter. And then for this one, you kind of just make a, oh, there we go, tomato sauce, and you crack the eggs into it, and I'll let you know how it is. So I didn't really have a plan for this whole snow day vlog. Actually, the snow has pretty much already melted. It's supposed to start up again this evening. Let's just double check when. Not till after dark again, so I mean, this is pretty average for Seattle. We freak out that the big snow is coming, and then, I mean, last year we got 6 inches, but that like shut the whole city down. It's mostly melted now. Like, the roads are pretty safe. They might get icy tonight, but I'm not going anywhere tonight. And tomorrow morning, it'll probably be all fine by the time I go anywhere again anyway, and I have 4-wheel drive, so. Anyway, I'm not really writing today. I'm mostly playing Fire Emblem, although I don't know who to choose for my dancer this time, and that has me just stopped. Also, Josh has never seen Good Omens, so we're watching Good Omens today, just because we happen to both have the day off. So I thought maybe I would just sit and chat with you for a little while. I feel like most of my videos have been pretty chatty recently, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because, you know, it's been a year already. It's only, what is today, the 13th, and a lot has happened in 2020. Have a cup of tea. It's very hot still, which is why I wasn't holding it, but maybe you can get a cup of tea as well, and we can just chat for a minute, because I'm gonna put it down because it's really hot. I just poured it. Put it next to my cute little cat light. Already in 2020, freaking Trump has assassinated a international leader without congressional approval, which is a pretty dictator thing to do when he should just be sitting on his thumbs right now waiting for his hearing in Congress because he is impeached. Like, he has to stand trial now. That's what that means. And instead he's like calling assassinations. I don't know, it's pretty bad. That's really bad, and it's having some major impacts, and people are dead now because of it. So yeah, really, really bad. Australia is burning down, and that's really horrible, and that is one of the expected results of global warming, unfortunately. Like, that is what caused that. And I mean, up here we're having weird weather patterns. We don't get snow like we've been getting these past couple years, which is why, of course, Seattle feels like every snow is snowmageddon. Like, they don't get snow here. It gets harder and harder to be hopeful when it just feels like things are spiraling and that, like, there's no control, and like there is hope and there are things we can do. It just always feels like it's not enough, you know? So it gets hard to like get into the writing mode, get into the doing anything but playing Fire Emblem mode, just because there's so much. But like, there are things you can do. Like, the #1 thing you can do is vote, and vote for a candidate who like makes sense to you. Like ask yourself why you believe something, why something is important to you, and then vote for the person who matches that most closely. Like, there's a quiz you can do. Maybe I'll link that down below, where it just like asks you to rank how much things matter to you, and then it matches up which candidate is the closest to you. So I'll go ahead and link that down below because I thought that was a great resource. Actually, I found that resource for the first time because someone online, I was talking about probably Obama back in the day and how, like, obviously I'm voting for Obama, like, back when I was in college, and some asshole online was like, you don't really know what's important, and like you're not paying enough attention, and you should be voting independent, like all these things. You like take this quiz and then you'll see. Well, I matched up with Obama like really close. It was my top thing, so I was like, I'm fully informed, like I know what I'm talking about, I know which things are important to me. So anyway, I'll put that down below just because I think it's really interesting, and sometimes you could be surprised by how closely you match up with a candidate who you thought maybe wasn't as close to what your ideals are, like what their stance is. So if I can find it again, it'll be linked down below. That's really important, like paying attention, but also, and this is something I thought about while watching, what is it called on Netflix? The Confession Murderer, where the guy confessed to hundreds of murders and he probably committed none of them. So a whole bunch of murderers are just running around because the Texas Rangers just kept letting him admit to murders he hadn't done because he was trying to commit, what do they call that? He was trying to commit suicide, but like not on his own, like he was trying to get the death penalty and do suicide that way. Crazy story. If you enjoy true crime, that's a really interesting one. But one of the things I thought was weird and fascinating was that these Texas Rangers, it's been so many years since this happened. Like the guy is dead now. Like it's been such a long time. They're old. Probably they were both retired. But these two Texas Rangers, knowing for a fact that they let this guy admit to murders he hadn't done, like proven that he hadn't done them, they just like doubled down on every decision they made. They're like, no, we were right the whole time. We were completely right. And I was like, how do you go like this huge spans of time, like all these things, all this proof, and you just double down on that? Like you can't step back and be like, okay, maybe we weren't right. Like maybe we made a mistake and like, what can we do to fix it? Like to just like double down on things is so weird to me, to like not be able to look at something and be like, okay, maybe I'm wrong, or just to, I don't know, maybe this is like, I grew up with like science being a major thing, like we go to museums, like it was a big deal, and I don't know if maybe that helped me to just like be able to change my mind, but like changing your mind on things is actually important. Being able to listen to not just someone else's opinion, because someone else's opinion, you know, you should be able to listen to that non-critically and at least like see where they're coming from. Like that is an important skill. But like to have facts laid out for you, like provable facts, like you could even prove that this is true, and to see them and to not be able to change your mind or your stance, that is really dangerous and really, it's just bad. It's bad. And one of the best things you can do is to look critically at something, learn how to read the facts and discern, for one thing online, to discern what is fact is very important. To be able to look at a source and be like, this source is reliable or isn't reliable, that's important. And some of that's not even just common sense, some of that is doing some extra digging. If you have undisputable facts, being able to look at them and make a decision for yourself to not just believe them, but to change your mind about the things that then that is proving to be different for you. Like, are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the most important thing, is to have that kind of mental flexibility where like your entire identity is not tied to the way you think about something or like to one action. Well, I'm thinking about like with these Texas Rangers, they're like, no, Texas Rangers are like top tier, like they're good people, they're doing the right thing, and so they're infallible. And it's like, you can't be infallible. Like that's a really dangerous way to see yourself, and to be so tied up in that you must believe this very narrow view in order to have not failed. Like, you're not a failure for changing your mind about something or for not accepting that you have made mistakes, you know? I feel like that's become more and more important. There are other things too that you can do, like, but like mental flexibility is so important, and I think like readers we have more of that just naturally. I think we have less issue with that than people who don't read as much. What it all comes down to is it's important to vote. Always, but like this year is gonna be very important to vote if you're an American. Like obviously we have seen a lot of bad things happening in other countries. Like England might be a little bit screwed also. Like you guys are not doing well. It's really bad, but like we have to get rid of Trump. Other things. Well, we're just gonna take a sip of tea here. I'm just gonna have a rampage. Other things that I think are really important is that like if you don't fundamentally agree with something, like let's go big. Coca-Cola Company is one of the most destructive companies out there. Like it is hard to avoid. They own a lot. We have some like mega monopolies, like friggin' Disney owns everything. Coca-Cola owns a lot of things. Like it's hard to avoid, but you can be a conscious consumer. You can be like, hey, if I'm aware that that is owned by Coca-Cola, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to try and buy something else. The more often you can be a conscious consumer, the better. The more often you don't just go, well, I don't care. The more often you go, wait, this is convenient and maybe this is what I'm craving, but I can make a more conscious decision to not support these like really horrible conglomerate companies. The more often you do that, the better, because if all of us were doing that, if we're all trying to buy more locally, trying to not support major corporations, if we were all striving for that and like insisting that these companies are held to a higher moral standard, that they're held to higher environmental standards, higher, what do you call that? When like you're trying not to make people slaves, which some of these companies. But if we're just not falling for their tricks, which they are spending a freaking ton of money trying to trick us into doing whatever they want so they can keep making money. Obviously, like, that's the main problem. They're spending a lot of money and we are just one person each. The more often you make those conscious decisions to like stop trying to fall for that, the better off the whole world is going to be. Like if everyone is constantly attempting to make more conscious decisions, attempting to not fall for stupid advertisements or stupid politicians more and more often, then we're going to be a lot better off. Yeah, there's not a lot you can do just one person sitting here by yourself, but you can donate your time, you can donate your money, you can donate if you've got it, you know. Some of us don't have time or money, but if you can support in any way that you can, and obviously like it's your right to vote. So make sure you vote for a candidate who lines up with your ideals at least as closely as possible. Somebody made a great analogy, and it was that voting is not like dating, it's like taking the bus, where like you're not waiting for Mr. Right to come along as a candidate. What you're doing is you're riding to a destination and you're getting off at the closest stop. You're not going to pass the stop and you're not going to not get off the bus. You're going to get off at the closest stop. So that's what you're doing with politics and with voting. You are finding the closest stop to where you want to be, and then once you get there, perhaps trying to petition for a closer stop to your destination. You know, like that is what you're striving for, or even potentially finding another bus route if you need to. It's a good analogy, right? I'm not sure who said it. I feel like this is something I read on Twitter one time, so sorry if there's no credit where credit's due, but if someone knows where that's from, like link, because you can do small things. When you recycle, do it in an environmentally conscious way. Not all cities are really good at recycling, and Americans throw out the dirtiest recycling ever. Like, you should be cleaning your recycling. You should be making sure that you only recycle things which are recyclable in your area, because the less they need to pick like plastic bags out of their machinery or things that just don't belong, the more often they can actually produce recycled products. So do be conscious about that. Try eating less meat. I mean, it's hard to dispute how big of an impact eating meat has on our environment. It is really bad. So the more often you can strive towards not eating meat, the better, or at least eating locally sourced meat and locally sourced products is really going to help out in the long run. I donated some money. I set aside some money and donated where I could what causes I felt were really important. Things like charities that get books for kids, I think is really important because reading is our number one defense. I mean, let's be honest, I know I'm coming from like a writer perspective, but reading is one of the most vital things, especially for having thinking adults in the future. Like Gen Z is killing it on the like trying to make the world a better place front. And part of that is they had more access to books than ever before, you know? It is important, it does make a difference that kids are getting an education and not just a school or organized education, like that they're reading and they're enjoying reading and they're reading widely. That's important. I donated to the hashtag Team Trees that was going on, although now I want to like know, because they got their goal, like where are they planting these trees? How are the trees being planted? Like, I want to know more. So hopefully that's all going to be like a big thing where they're like, here are the trees we've planted, the 20 million trees, and counting because there was even more. I want to see it happen. So hopefully that'll happen. There are other places that are doing great things. The Ocean Project is one that I have supported for so long. They're trying to clean the trash out of the oceans and they have a really innovative way of doing that. I mean, there's a lot of projects. There are all kinds of like community cleanup projects. Like those are good things for small scale, things that you can help with. And you know, as often as possible using reusable products, as often as possible not like buying bottled water. Like you can carry a water bottle. It's trendy, obviously. Everyone can be carrying a water bottle everywhere. It's cool right now. You might as well jump on board with that trend. There are other ones though, like the straw thing. I have heard plenty of arguments for why that is a stupid thing. But if you are physically capable of having a reusable straw or not using a straw, sure, that's another good one. Just like don't be hating on people who physically can't be doing these things. Like this is an individual thing. We're not trying to shame the rest of the world because that's not how we make progress. You don't want to lash out at others, you want to bring them into your circle. Everyone else having a nice cup of tea. This snowy, after it's not snowy anymore, it's just gray. Like our outlook on life. I don't know, I'm just feeling really pessimistic. And I know I've written a couple of blog posts over on my blog that have been pretty pessimistic. But like, it's disheartening when your government is running away with its power and also pulling out of the things that you like deeply believe in. Like pulling funding from our national parks, which is ludicrous. Because if you look at a map of like areas in the world that are still forested, our national parks do stand out as places where there is true forest, and there's not a lot of other places, especially in the US, like all of the ones where there is significant foliage, there's a national park there. And you need to stop and think about that, like what we lose if we lose the earth. Actually, let's just bring it back to a happier note. I'm still reading Brightly Burning by Alexa Dunn. They've lost the Earth in that book and they're orbiting around it in a fleet, and it's really good so far. Like it's actually, I think it's supposed to be, what is it? It's Jane Eyre in space is like the selling point, but if you like Regency drama and you like Doctor Who, this book will appeal. So you don't have to, I think, love Jane Eyre. It's done different, like it's similar, it hits some of the similar points, but it's not like beat for beat. It's not like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or anything like that. It's a different story. So if you enjoy Regency drama and Doctor Who, this one's for you. I'm about halfway through now, so anyway, I know I was gonna do a thing. This just reminded me. Someday we're going to have to orbit the Earth in a fleet because we'll have destroyed our planet. From a volcano was how that one was, which then I was reading in the news that a volcano's erupting right now. Hey, the world is ending. I'm aware that probably nobody follows me for like toasty political commentary. It's not been a secret anywhere that like I'm a liberal, Democrat, atheist. I have strong opinions. I'm a feminist. I'm for environmental activism and animal rights and women's rights, and I don't know. I've already written a blog post about this. Now I feel like I'm fizzling out. I just feel so tired. It keeps feeling like there's not enough we can do. I haven't written any poetry in a while. I like set up, like I set up my million tabs of things to try and send out some poetry at the beginning of the year, because I love sending out poetry in January. Like, I feel like then you're set up for the year, and like all the people on Twitter who are also poets are talking about the poems that they've sent out, and like I was excited about it, and then I just kind of fizzled, and I haven't written any poetry recently. It's hard to stay hopeful. I'm really excited about the books still that I'm working on. The focus isn't there. My focus has been all on Fire Emblem, because then that's a different world that's virtual that I get to destroy, or that gets destroyed and I get to rebuild it, Especially in the Blue Lions route, like, it's gonna get destroyed. It's gonna go down real soon here, and I have to decide who my dancer's gonna be. When I did the Golden Deer, I did Lorenz, obviously, and then obviously when I did the Black Eagles, I did Dorothea. Like, both of them asked to be the dancer, and once they had asked me, I was gonna let them, but I don't have anyone who, like, wants to do it on this route. I don't know what to do. I've also recruited half the school already, because I don't like killing the other children later, so. What do you guys do when you're just feeling like, the world is ending? Like, the election feels so far away, but like, I donated to Elizabeth Warren's campaign because I think she's our best bet. Honestly, like, I have believed in her for a long time. I feel like that woman gets shit done to an extreme degree. She's who I'm planning on voting for, but obviously, if she doesn't make it past the primaries, then I'll vote for whoever the Democratic candidate is. Even if it's Biden, who I never thought would be a good president. Never once in my life did I think Biden was going to be a good president. He was a great wingman. He was a great pep guy for Obama. Great at that. I hope it's Elizabeth Warren, for many reasons, but I really think she has the energy and the plan to help this country not be such a shit show. I don't care if you agree with me or disagree with me, but I am asking that you think critically this year, and that you re-examine your opinions on things, and like, take the quiz below if you have any doubt about who you side with on issues. I know I'm like a writing channel, and I know this was like a snow day vlog and it should have been all kind of happy and sweet, but that's not how I'm feeling today. So let's just carry on with the vlog. The chili's still cooking. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, like, if y'all want any recipes for going a bit vegetarian or vegan, like, there's some good stuff out there. Josh was not easy to convince to stop eating meat until his cholesterol was real bad, and then we were doing this for that initially, but then I liked it. But dude, so many recipes are so good without meat, but like, chili is one of them that just, and you can add cheese, you can add whatever you want at the end, but like, skip pudding, beef, pork, anything. Just get every kind of bean, because they all have slightly different health benefit things. So, and it looks so much prettier if you put all of the bean colors in. So I just get one of every color. You can buy them dirt cheap. Don't make sure you are not spending over $10 on your giant pot of chili. You can do it for less if you've already got a slow cooker. Otherwise, cost of slow cooker plus this. You get your beans on sale. I've probably talked about this before. You get an onion, you get some garlic. It can be powdered, both of them, if you need to. You get some just spices. If the only spice you can put into that is salt, pepper, and chili powder, fine. You could also use like a taco seasoning packet, or they make the little like chili seasoning packets. You can get one of those. Easy peasy, no problem. Just throw the whole thing in there. Yeah, do that instead if it's easier for you. And then you're just gonna dump some cans of beans in. Do like 5 cans of beans. Drain them first. Put some diced tomato can in there. Don't drain that one, use that juice. Maybe put like an extra can of water in, that's fine. Put some, I like green chilies. Those are really good, put those in. You can put also like, chop up some bell pepper, chop up some spicy pepper, like as spicy as you want it. You can put extra heat in there with some cayenne. Cayenne's real good in that. Some paprika if you got it. I like to put a little bit of cumin and a bay leaf, that's my thing. I think my mom used to put corn into the chili. You can put some carrots in there, grate that in, whatever you want. Just stuff it full of vegetables. Fantastic protein source, for one thing, because it's beans. You can make a huge portion, just like fill up whatever little crock pot thing you've got. Feed you for a long time. You can have that with some bread, you can have it by itself. Because I'm trying to be more vegan, put a little nutritional yeast on top, and then I'm just covering all of my healthy benefits. If you want to be crazy, you can put a little bit of spinach in there, because spinach is like all the good things. I mean, it's so easy to make chili and to not put any meat into it. And it's better, and even Josh prefers chili without any meat in it. Also, if you take a big old scoop of chili and put that on top of some mac and cheese, oh my god. Anyway, just to help you out a little bit, I have many recipes. I don't know what else is gonna go into this video, but I think this is probably a good time to stop this rant. Just enjoy my cup of tea, go back to Fire Emblem, decide who my dancer will be, and then Josh went out for a little bit. That's why I've been filming a rant, but we're gonna get back to watching Good Omens as soon as he's back. Okay, bye.